Our top story tonight, a change to how residents interact with city leaders is sparking conversation in Pooler.
Public comment will no longer be allowed at the end of city council meetings, a decision that has some residents speaking out while city leaders argue it creates more ways for people to share their feedback. WSAV's Isabella Baez joins us now. And Isabella, you went to the meeting tonight, so what did the mayor have to say about this?
Ben, tonight's meeting was the first since Mayor Karen Williams announced the switch to a fully online public comment format. She tells me the change is intended to give residents more ways to share their feedback, not just during the public comment period at the end of council meetings. But some residents I spoke with say they feel like their voices are being taken away.
Their First Amendment rights are not being violated. That's fear-mongering, and frankly, the city has no place for that.
Pooler Mayor Karen Williams announced changes to the city's public comment process last week, moving the portion of the meetings that allowed residents to address non-agenda issues from an in-person format to an online submission system. She says the change is aimed at making it easier for more people to participate in local government.
People coming to my office that said, mainly phone calls, I'm not comfortable coming in front of all these elected officials with this huge dais there, and I'm looking up at these people. I'm not comfortable doing that. So they're timid, or they have a busy life.
Mayor Williams says the change applies only to the general public comment period held at the end of the city council meetings and does not affect opportunities for residents to speak during public hearings or on items listed on the agenda.
If you want to come to a council meeting, as you saw tonight, they had the opportunity to talk about anything on the agenda. Anything and everything. I will continue to do that.
The announcement sparked debate online and drew residents to Monday night's council meeting, where some hope to speak about issues not on the agenda. Under the new format, they were unable to address council in person.
This is a real loss for the residents of Pooler, not being able to address their council on general matters that aren't on the agenda. I was here today. I wanted to continue to push the city to adopt data center moratoriums and, a strong ordinance, and I and other residents here no longer have the forum to do that.
The fact that she's squashing the ability for people to make public comment during a public meeting is the thing that's of concern.
You may be wondering whether changes like this are allowed under state law. Under Georgia's open meetings law, local governments are not required to provide a general public comment period. Agenda setting authority also rests with the mayor. Isabella Baez, WSAV News 3, on your side.
Isabella, thank you. 2 corrections officers at a South Georgia prison are recovering after being injured during an incident with an inmate. The Georgia Department of Corrections tells WSAV it happened Thursday at Rogers State Prison in Tatnall County. Both officers were taken to a local hospital for treatment and have since been released. State corrections officials have not released details about what exactly happened, saying the cause of this case remains under investigation.
The Thunderbolt fire chief is facing a DUI charge after an arrest in Beaufort County. Jail records show that Otis Boyles was taken into custody on Friday night and booked on a charge of driving under the influence. As of this afternoon, those records show he remains in the Beaufort County Detention Center. Boyles was hired as Thunderbolt's fire chief in 2025. This incident report provided by the sheriff's office offers limited information. It shows that deputies responded to a McDonald's on New Orleans Road on Hilton Head for a motor vehicle incident. Much of the report's details have been redacted as the case moves through the legal process, leaving few additional details about what happened that night. We have reached out to Thunderbolt Town leaders for comment and are working to learn whether Boyles remains on the job. We'll bring you any updates as we get them.
The FBI is offering a reward of up to $10,000 for information leading to the capture of an escaped federal inmate out of Jessup. Authorities say 34-year-old Arthur Cofield escaped from FCI Jessup on May 26th and remains on the run. Cofield was serving an 11-year, 3-month sentence after being convicted of conspiracy to commit bank fraud and aggravated identity theft. Authorities say he has ties to the Atlanta area and should be considered armed and dangerous. Anyone with information is urged to contact the FBI.
It might sound like something out of a movie, but it's real. We are talking about a high-dollar art theft with pieces still missing and investigators searching for answers. But this case isn't overseas in some place like Paris. It's right here in Chatham County. Police say nearly $100,000 worth of art, musical instruments, and personal items were stolen from the Extra Space Storage Center on Johnny Mercer Boulevard in September of last year. And there are still unanswered questions surrounding the crime. Among the most valuable pieces, 3 paintings worth nearly $10,000 each. In December, Chatham County Police say they made an arrest in the case, 31-year-old Hunter Dempsey. Detectives say Dempsey was charged in connection with this burglary as well as other storage facility theft. But even with that arrest, investigators say the case isn't closed. A significant portion of the stolen property, including the paintings, has still not been recovered. Now police are hoping that someone who may have seen or heard something will come forward and help piece the case back together. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Chatham County Police Department.
Georgia's runoff election is just weeks away, and one well-known name is now on the sidelines. Congressman Buddy Carter hoped to advance in the race for U.S. Senate, but after finishing in third place in the primary, his campaign has come to an end. WSAV's Isley Herschel sat down with Carter to talk about what's next for him politically.
Representative Buddy Carter currently serves in the House for Georgia's 1st Congressional District. He gave up his seat to run for a U.S. Senate seat. He ended up in third place with just over 25% of the vote.
We were certainly anticipating the primary, and we felt really good. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for us.
We sat down with Carter today to hear his thoughts on the loss.
We left everything on the field, and we feel real good about that, but it was extremely disappointing. But look, the voters have spoken, and we need to move on.
The two candidates that did make it to the runoff for the Republican side are Mike Collins and Derek Dooley. For the Democrats, John Ossoff won outright and is advancing to the November elections. At the moment, Representative Carter says he will not endorse either Republican candidate.
I congratulate both of them and wish both of them well in the runoff, and then whoever comes out ahead in the general election.
Carter still has until January of 2027 to serve out his term in the House of Representatives. After that, he says his journey in politics is far from over.
I still have a lot of gas left in my tank, and I want to make it clear that I have no intention of retiring, that I still want to be involved, I still want to be relevant, and I'm not ruling out anything, even the possibility of running again in 2 years.
Isley Herschel, WSAV News 3, on your side.
Early voting runs June 8th through the 12th here in Georgia. Major races, including governor and U.S. Senate, are on the ballot. We have more information for you at wsav.com/electionhq.
Georgia drivers get ready to pay more at the pump. Governor Kemp says he will not extend the state's gas tax suspension, which means the temporary relief is set to expire tomorrow at midnight. Kemp's office says the suspension was designed to help hardworking Georgians get through the Memorial Day weekend, but with oil prices now stabilized, the suspension will expire. The current suspension eliminates about 33 cents per gallon and more than 37 cents per gallon of diesel. AAA says drivers could start seeing the impact within a day or two after the suspension ends.
In a military report now, families at Fort Stewart are welcoming home soldiers from the 3rd Infantry Division after a 9-month deployment to Eastern Europe. Soldiers with the 3rd Division Sustainment Brigade are back on Georgia soil after supporting NATO operations in Eastern Europe as part of Task Force Marne. The unit spent months training alongside Allied forces, conducting live fire exercises and strengthening coordination with partner militaries across the region. Now, the first wave of homecoming troops return to Fort Stewart. Families are finally getting the moment they've been waiting for.
A long time coming. This is the longest I've been away from the kids, so super excited to see them. I'm just really proud of what we accomplished over there, and I'm glad we could, share it with all the families here coming back.
The rest of the division's deployed units are expected to return in additional waves over the coming weeks.
We are thrilled to report tonight that all of the tickets are gone for the 2026 Savannah St. Jude Dream Home. The last ticket was purchased around 10:15 tonight. So we sold 8,100 tickets at $100 each, which means we raised $810,000 for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Tomorrow we will gather in the home with the builder and give it away. Landmark 24 Homes and its trade partners built this home at zero cost to St. Jude, so all of the proceeds can help the hospital treat and defeat childhood cancer and other life-threatening diseases. The proceeds also ensure that no family ever receives a bill, not for treatment, travel, housing, or food. So now we invite you to join us tomorrow from 4 to 6:30 p.m. to see who wins the 4 bonus prizes and the grand prize, the $575,000 home. We will draw for 1 prize each half hour. Thanks to everyone who purchased a ticket this year, and good luck tomorrow.